Hello everyone, welcome to SportsKhabri, Arun Foot, Curious Harry, and Shayan's channel, Indian Food and Football. Unfortunately, Shayan himself is not here today because he's, of course, parallelly doing another show on his channel. So it's just us guys today to discuss the Merdeka Cup, to discuss what's in store, the format that we kind of got wrong yesterday because, well, things have changed in the past 24 hours. We'll discuss that, potentially players who could miss out on the Malaysia fixture, and a lot more. So let's start off. First thing, now we know what the format is going to look like. India are going to play Malaysia as they were supposed to before Palestine withdrew from the tournament. Now this game will happen on the 13th itself, and the winner of the match will play Tajikistan in the final. It's as simple as that. Tajikistan have been given a bye. They were supposed to play Palestine. That's not happening. So this is what the format looks like. Um, Guys, what I want to understand from you is, because now it's a three-team tournament, one team's gotten a bye. How do you look at that? Because now potentially India plays only one game. If we lose against Malaysia, that's about it. I don't know. Like, so how do you look at the situation?
I think the first issue in this whole ongoing saga regarding Merdeka Cup is, of course, this has been called upon because Lebanon originally was supposed to play in the tournament. And then Lebanon ended up with Malaysia, right? In the same group in Asian Cup?
Palestine.
Sorry. No. Lebanon was originally part of the Merdeka Cup.
Yes, but Lebanon, Palestine in World Cup qualifiers, same group. So that's why Lebanon pulled out.
And Tajikistan came in. Sorry. Yeah. Palestine was there. Sorry, my mistake. My bad. Sorry. Yeah. I just got totally confused. So, so the point here is that that was the first team to pull out. Then you get in a replacement, and then of course you are in a situation that whatever happens or is happening at the moment in Palestine and Israel can't be influenced, and therefore Palestine is forced to pull out. Now you're in the situation is that the organizers want to do a tri-nation tournament, and what then happened was, that is my understanding of the situation, is that especially Tajikistan was not ready to play tomorrow and didn't want to play tomorrow. So the organizers were sort of in a fix because they were trying to keep this 72-hour window between matches, so saying 11th, 14th, 17th. Now, with that not possible, what was possible? India's already there. I don't know has Tajikistan arrived in Malaysia? I don't even know if that's the fact. I think they arrived today, if I'm not wrong. So therefore, we are in a situation that the Football Association of Malaysia had to find some sort of format now. And ideally, I think Malaysia would have most probably liked to have called off the Merdeka Cup per se, and would have said, listen, let Malaysia, as Malaysia, let's play two friendlies, one against India, one against Tajikistan.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, then a problem for India and Tajikistan, because you've come with the understanding that you would play two matches, the semi-finals and either the final or the third place playoff. So that's the situation as it stands at the moment. It's a very complex situation. And yesterday, we were discussing a potential sort of three-way format, which I felt was the best. But again, you have the compulsion by the 17th you need to finish, because all three national teams of players who have commitments with their respective clubs. So it's not just an Indian problem. It's a general issue. And then early today, the Football Association of Malaysia came out with the format which you see here, which is the current format, of saying that Malaysia play India in the first match, and the winner of that game takes on Tajikistan. And this is something yeah, it's a very compromised sort of format. Um, but again, we're now in the situation we are in, and there were no opportunities to sort of invite some nation short notice to fill in um, that the absence of Palestine, and therefore we're now either Malaysia or India will only play one game in this October FIFA window, which for whichever team loses is bad because next month you're going into the World Cup qualifiers.
Exactly. Exactly, Arnava. And Hiren, we were talking about this right before the show started. A couple of updates on players who haven't trained coming in with injury. What's the situation around them? If you could just shed light, because Lord Beck is also saying Manveer, uh, Subhashish Bose, and Anwar come with injury into this camp. So, what's the situation around these players?
Hello everyone. Definitely one of the Mon Bagan's fan page, or you can say he tweeted about this that Manveer Bose and अनवर अली इंजरी के साथ आए हैं, लेकिन आज तो जो हमने वीडियो देखा है उसमें तो आज देखा है कि आज जिम सेशन ही हुआ है. सो मोस्ट प्रोबेबली कल से जो मतलब ओपन ट्रेनिंग सेशन होगा, आई थिंक वहां में पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे. तो मेरे को तो उतना ज्यादा भी नहीं लग रहा है कि इश्यू होगा. आई थिंक दे आर फिट. थोड़ा सा आई थिंक एज ए प्रिकॉशनरी मेजर्स, आई थिंक जो लास्ट लास्ट टाइम आई थिंक आसिफ कुरंगन के साथ हुआ था. तो आई डोंट थिंक सो कि अब यहाँ पे नेशनल टीम और नेशनल जो मेडिकल स्टाफ है वो चाहेगा कि कोई भी उस तरह का यहाँ पे मिसमैनेजमेंट हो. तो उसके चलते आज शायद जिम से उनको यहाँ पे क्या बोलते कि लेफ्ट आउट किया गया. एंड मोस्ट प्रोबेबली कल से ओपन ट्रेनिंग में टीम के साथ जुड़ेंगे. एंड जो हम फॉर्मेट की बात कर रहे थे, एक चीज मैं वहाँ पे ऐड करना चाहूंगा कि यहाँ पे अगर आप रियलिस्टिकली देखें तो दो ही ऑप्शन बचे थे मलेशिया फुटबॉल फेडरेशन के पास. एक तो आपका क्या बोलते हैं कि ट्राई नेशन की तरफ करवाना, लेकिन उसमें भी आप देखिए कि आपको 9 तारीख को पता चला है एंड 11 को अगर आप मैच कराते हो तो किसी भी जो मतलब तजाकिस्तान का भी जेन्युइन पॉइंट है कि वो मतलब बिना प्रिपेयर के वो खेलने का कोई मतलब नहीं बनता. तो वो एक रीजन था. और दूसरा था कि आप इसको बाय देके आप यहाँ पे इस अभी जो करंट फॉर्मेट उन्होंने एक्सेप्ट किया है वही है, क्योंकि दूसरी कोई टीम मिल नहीं रही. जैसे सर ने बोला कि अभी कोई कोई टीम यहाँ पे रेडी नहीं है क्योंकि सारे के वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स का राउंड 1 चल रहा है. सो आई थिंक रियलिस्टिकली आई थिंक यही बेस्ट पॉसिबल सॉल्यूशन था जो जिसके लिए आई थिंक वो लोग गए हैं. एंड अच्छी बात है. आई थिंक मलेशिया या फिर इंडिया में से किसी एक को एक मैच ही खेलने को मिलेगा. तजाकिस्तान भी एक ही मैच खेल रहा है. सो थोड़ा सा क्या बोलते कि हमारा जो प्लानिंग था उससे थोड़ा सा ऑफ ट्रैक हो गए हैं, लेकिन चैलेंज भी है इंडिया के लिए. मलेशिया खेलने को मिल रहा है 13 तारीख को. हम आगे बात करेंगे कि कितना बड़ा टफ मैच रहने वाला है, क्योंकि आप देखिए जिस तरह की मलेशिया ने स्कोर सिलेक्शन की है और होम मैच है उनके लिए. 25,000 टिकट्स ऑलरेडी सोल्ड आउट जो न्यूज निकल के आ रही है. सो फैन बेस का जो सपोर्ट होगा मलेशिया की टीम को वो जबरदस्त होने वाला है. सो उसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है. सो उस सेंस में आई थिंक इंडिया के लिए भले ही चाहे एक मैच मिले दो मिले तो अच्छी बात है ऑब्वियसली, लेकिन अगर एक मैच भी मिलता है तो क्वालिटी मैच होगा एंड अपने आप को क्या बोलते हैं कि प्रूव करने के लिए इनफ होगा मेरे हिसाब से. सो देखते हैं कि किस तरह से यहाँ पे टीम आपको पहुंच देती
Yeah, very interesting, because again, a lot of people are saying here. It'll be interesting to see how many games India gets. Abhishek says we'll probably get only one match. One team has to go earlier, yes, of course, given the new situation. Um, Akshata is asking Arnava and Hiren, on what basis was Tajikistan directly sent to the final? Because was there a possibility to reshuffle the fixtures and redraw the fixtures and give a team? I mean, at the end of the day, isn't it beneficial to India that we're playing an extra game?
See, the point here is there could be two reasons. One reason is again time of arrival, you know, and on the other side, it could be also is some conversations. It's very vaguely formulated in a way that why Tajikistan has been put directly into the final, or it could also be a reason that Tajikistan was supposed to play Palestine. So it's sort of they got a buy into the final. So therefore, again, logic was not communicated. Let's put this way, and then we not only us but. Let's wait and see what happens. I think it's a difficult situation for the organizers, and they looked at the option. I would have liked to have had the Tri-Nation option, because I think that's the fairest way of ascertaining who is sort of the best amongst the three to win the Merdeka Cup. And now it's for both India and Malaysia, do or die. I guess yeah, it's a real test now in that first game, which could potentially be our only game, right? So
This is an interesting thought, Ishan. Could India and Malaysia have played on the 11th? Because then
I
Tajikistan would
don't
play
know.
on
I don't know if that was the option.
ऑप्शन
Mhm.
आई थिंक तजाकिस्तान को भी बाय क्यों मिला है मेरे हिसाब से। आई थिंक सही उन्होंने जो किया है मेरे हिसाब से सही है, क्योंकि आप देखिए जो ये टूर्नामेंट ऐसा है कि ये कोई क्या बोलते हैं कि आपका उस लेवल का कंपटीशन नहीं है कि जहाँ पे आप मेरिट बेसिस पे वो करो, ये रिलेशन बेसिस पे होता है। एक तो आप देखिए लेबनान ने लास्ट मोमेंट पे वो बैकआउट कर गए, उसके बाद आपने तजाकिस्तान को बुलाया, तो एक रिलेशन के ऊपर काम करता है। एंड आई थिंक जो बेस्ट पॉसिबल वे था, नहीं तो मलेशिया खुद को भी फाइनल में रख सकता था, वो उनके लिए बेस्ट होता कि तजाकिस्तान ने इंडिया के बीच मैच करवा देता और मलेशिया को फाइनल में रख देते। लेकिन उन्होंने जो एक ऑलरेडी शेड्यूल बना हुआ था उसी के साथ वो कंटिन्यू किए गए, एंड जो टीम पुल आउट कर गई, जो कि एक राइट प्रोसीजर है मेरे हिसाब से, रादर देन रीसफलिंग द होल फिक्सर्स। उससे अच्छा है कि यही कर दीजिए कि जिसके सामने जो टीम थी वो तो फिर आप लक बेसिस हो गया ना, क्योंकि किसी ने भी ये सिचुएशन एक्सेप्ट क्या बोलते एक्सपेक्ट नहीं की थी कि भाई इस मोमेंट में पैलेस्टाइन का ये सिचुएशन होगा और वो पुल आउट कर जाएगी। तो भाई जो पहले ही ड्रॉ आ चुके थे कि पैलेस्टाइन वर्सेस तजाकिस्तान के, तो पैलेस्टाइन पुल आउट कर गई, तो ऑब्वियस रीजन है अगर कोई भी अगर उस लेवल का भी कंपटीशन होता, चाहे कोई क्वालिफायर्स होता, कुछ भी होता, तो वहां पे भी सेम सिचुएशन हो कि कोई टीम अगर पुल आउट करती है तो जो उनके ओपोनेंट है उसको बाय मिल जाता है। तो सेम चीज उन्होंने यहाँ पे अप्लाई की है, तो मेरे को नहीं लगता कि इसमें कोई गलत है, चाहे भले ही इंडिया से लोअर रैंक है या फिर कोई भी चीज हो। आई थिंक फेयर इनफ है मेरे हिसाब से, तो उन्होंने जो बाय किया है।
Yeah, and guys, would not have been worse for India if, for example, they had to play the final directly, because you only get one match then, and the whole point of this international break is lost because you're trying to prepare for the World Cup qualifiers and then the Asian Championships. So, yeah, in a way, I think it's just sad that we're not getting two assured games. We might get two games. That's the only change. Now, of course, on Malaysia. We're playing in Malaysia. Um, Guys, a quick word on the Malaysian team. How easy or tough is this fixture going to be for India? Do you see India getting a result in this fixture? I know, Hiren, either of you.
See, I think Malaysia is one of those many countries in Southeast Asia who have looked at foreign-born talent or players of origin. And if you look at where they were 5-7 years ago, where they are now, the trajectory clearly is on the way up. So therefore, it's a challenge, and it'll be interesting to see how you deal with the home team. You know, it's like India playing in a bigger Kantirava, and the opponent has the support this time around. You know, that's also a good test going into the Asian Cup. So therefore, it's a good test. They have quality. And let's see. I mean, let's see how well prepared India will be in the coming days, and how they're able to cope with this. And yeah, again, good test. If we can get through this test, it's another step forward towards the World Cup qualifiers as well as the AFC Asian Cup.
Yep. Yeah.
For me, Malaysia has selected 14 POI players. जो उन्होंने सिलेक्ट किए उसमें से 4 या 5 तो पूरे मतलब नेचुरलाइजेशन प्रोसेस के थ्रू जो आए प्लेयर्स है वो है, बाकी 8-9 प्लेयर्स उनके पीओआई प्लेयर्स है। सो डेफिनेटली हमको पता है कि ऑल ओवर द वर्ल्ड सारे कंट्रीज यहाँ पे इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं नेचुरलाइजेशन एंड पीओआई प्लेयर्स, सिवाय की इंडिया। सो डेफिनेटली हमारे लिए देखिए अच्छी बात है, क्योंकि हमको नेक्स्ट जो मैच खेलना है वो होगा अवे टू कुवैत। तो आई थिंक उस सेंस में हमारे लिए काफी अच्छा टेस्ट होगा कि हम क्या अवे में उनके होम फैन के सामने किस तरह की परफॉर्मेंस देते हैं। सो दैट्स दी पॉजिटिव थिंग हमारे लिए। एंड आपकी स्पोर्ट भी फुल्ली अवेलेबल है, सो आई थिंक एक आपको क्लियर आइडिया मिल जाएगा कि कहाँ पे आप लैग कर रहे हो, व्हाट आर दी थिंग्स यू नीड टू इम्प्रूव। एंड मलेशिया के पास टेक्निकली भी अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं, सो इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बी इजी फॉर इंडिया, बट आई थिंक डेफिनेटली वी कैन चैलेंज देम, वी कैन बीट देम। एंड लेट होप सो कि rather than thinking about too much about POI players, or you can say foreign origin players, we need to, you can say, focus on our things, and क्या हमारे हाथ में उसके ऊपर फोकस करें और अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस दे. दिस इज व्हाट वी एक्सपेक्ट, बिकॉज अवे में हम बहुत ही ज्यादा हमारा जो परफॉर्मेंस है वो कन्विंसिंग नहीं रहा है पर्टिकुलरली रिजल्ट वाइज. सो रिजल्ट इज मैटर. तो आई थिंक उस सेंस में भी काफी ज्यादा. एंड एक एक देखिए, साउथ एशियन कंट्री का इंडिया के साथ एक जो राइवलरी है फुटबॉल में, वो एक अलग लेवल का है. आप देखिए कि उनके जो फैन बेस है वो भी इंडिया को एक राइवल की तरह ही देखते हैं. अगर आप जनरली जब भी मैच होता है, और अगर आप चैट देखेंगे जैसे इंडिया वर्सेस नेपाल का होता है, कि वहाँ पे जो मतलब नेपाल के फैंस है वो इंडियन फुटबॉल के एक अलग ही लेवल का वो कंपटीशन है. तो सेम चीज आप आसियान कंट्रीज के भी जो कंट्रीज है वो भी इंडिया को उसी तरह का चैलेंज की तरह लेते हैं, एंड दे आल्सो वांट टू बीट इंडिया. सो डेफिनेटली इट्स आई थिंक परफेक्ट फिक्चर फॉर इंडिया टू टेस्ट देमसेल्फ बिफोर गोइंग इनटू द वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स एंड ये सब्जेक्ट. एंड इससे बढ़िया प्लेटफॉर्म आपके लिए हो नहीं सकता. सो लेट होप सो कि बुकेट जलाल स्टेडियम में धमाकेदार परफॉर्मेंस 13 तारीख को 6:30 बजे से हमारी टीम करें, एंड मलेशिया को उनके घर पे धूल चटाए, एंड फाइनल में पूरा एम्प्टी स्टेडियम होना चाहिए. ऐसी हालत कर देनी चाहिए हमें, क्योंकि आई थिंक अगर मलेशिया हार गया तो फिर आई थिंक तजाकिस्तान वर्सेस इंडिया में आई डोंट थिंक सो कि कुछ फैंस के अलावा स्टेडियम में कोई दिखेगा.
Yeah, fair enough. Arnava, in terms of momentum itself, right? We're going into the World Cup qualifiers, 2 wins. Um, what would it do for the confidence of these players going into those big games?
It gives you a big boost, and we need to, again, we start away in Kuwait. I think that's the main thing that we need to remember. We are starting away in Kuwait, and then we host Qatar, and that Kuwait game could determine in which way where the qualifiers are set to go. Are we able to reach round 3? Because if we lose to Kuwait, it puts pressure on us that we at least need to beat Kuwait at home, and potentially, because head-to-head could be an issue, if we can upset Qatar in some sort of form way. And whoever comes in, Afghanistan or Mongolia, is also not beaten, right? So therefore, these are questions where we need to see how we are prepared.
Yeah,
That's it's this window, I thought, with 2 matches would have been better, I feel, because it gives the team time to gel, to settle down. And now if you're out on the 13th, the team's going to go home, so you're going to miss also 3-4 days of training. So that needs to be looked at. And yeah, the club coaches will be very, very happy. Players return early. Let's see where we stand.
Hiren, of course, we just played Iraq as well. We did stand up to Iraq. So seeing that performance and a good performance against Malaysia, and then potentially against Tajikistan, if we do come away with good results in these fixtures, are you confident that we can make it to round 3 after that?
I think definitely it will give a big boost, because I think अब जो कोच है और उनका जो पूरा कोचिंग स्टाफ है वो भी एक नई एनर्जी के साथ आ रहे हैं, क्योंकि कॉन्ट्रैक्ट रिन्यू हो चुका है. तो उनको भी उनका जो फ्यूचर है वो क्लियरिटी है कि वो वेयर दे नेक्स्ट टू गो, एंड उनके ऊपर भी एक एक्स्ट्रा रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बढ़ चुकी है कि दे नीड टू नाउ डिलीवर. सो वो भी एक उनके ऊपर भी एक वो एक्स्ट्रा प्रेशर होगा जरूर. एंड प्लेयरों के लिए भी डेफिनेटली, मैंने जैसे बोला कि अवे में जैसा हमारा फॉर्म है, अगर हम यहाँ पे मलेशिया एंड तजाकिस्तान के सामने कुछ प्रोड्यूस कर पाते हैं, दैट्स अ बिग बूस्ट. तो प्लेयरों के अंदर भी वो कॉन्फिडेंस आएगा कि यहाँ पे हम कुवैत के सामने भी उनके घर में जाके कुछ यहाँ पे कर सकते हैं, ऐसा नहीं है. सो एंड जो सर ने बिल्कुल सही बोला कि जो फर्स्ट 2 फिक्चर्स ही वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स के ऐसे हैं कि वो आपका सेट डिसाइड कर देगा कि आप जा रहे हो कि नहीं जा रहे हो नेक्स्ट राउंड ऑलमोस्ट. मतलब तो आई थिंक इन दैट सेंस आई थिंक दिस इज द क्रूशियल फिक्चर्स फॉर इंडिया. एंड लेट होप सो कि एक अच्छा परफॉर्मेंस टीम दे. एंड इस बार तो देखिए वर्ल्ड कप क्वालिफायर्स हमें जाना ही है राउंड 3, क्योंकि मैं बार बार बोलता हूँ कि इंटरनेशनल और नेशनल टीम का जो मैचेस है रिजल्ट ओरिएंटेड होना चाहिए वो, क्योंकि वही सब लोग याद रखते हैं. 2019 में भी हम राउंड 2 से बाहर हो गए थे, और अगर इस बार भी राउंड 2 से बाहर होते हैं, सो दैट्स दी नॉट दी गुड थिंग फॉर अस. चाहे हम गेम प्ले वाइज जो भी हमने प्रोग्रेस किया, लेकिन राउंड 3 में इस बार मस्ट है. and we need to show that we can beat quality teams also. So I think perfect. I think Malaysia, Kazakhstan, both the team. Kazakhstan I think currently is 110 in FIFA ranking. So वो भी हमारे आसपास ही है, and अच्छी टक्कर वहाँ पे भी देखने को मिल सकती है. So let's also keep better result हम produce कर पाए.
Will be interesting. Gazab is saying we'll surely make it to round three. I mean, we'll have to wait and watch, I guess. Um, we spoke about the lineups yesterday, the lineups that we're expecting. Let's just quickly run through them today as well. Guys, any changes from what we discussed yesterday? Let me just remind you and freshen everybody's memory for the lineup we put up yesterday. It was Gurpreet in goal, and then we had a back four of Akash Mishra, you had Anwar Ali, Sandesh Jingan, on the right side Roshan Singh. The three in midfield were Suresh, we had Anirudh Thapa and Sahal Abdul Samad. On the left was Mahesh, on the right was Changte, and down the middle is Sunil Chhetri. Any changes, guys? Everybody in the comments, guys, please let us know your if there are any changes that you guys feel should be there in this 11, or if there are players you think should be included in the 11 by then. Yeah. Here in Arnava, are we sticking to the same lineup today? Or
Potentially, yes. I mean, the question is, let's see how fit the players are, because again, some seem to have some niggles. Because I've heard also some other players. Let's see who's raring to go. So therefore, yeah, it's a toss of a coin, right? We were talking yesterday a lot about the position of Nikhil Pujari or rather a Roshan. Again, who plays in the holding midfield? Do we go more defensive rather than attacking? That's another question that we need to see. And then how do we fill up positions? We have we have let's see who is fit and who can play and how do we play, and that's the question, right? There's been a lot of talk about how we play, what we play, and now the question is also grinding out results. We've the first half against Iraq was very, very strong, but if you look at the Lebanon one, it was another one of those which was a 50-50 game, which we very often had, and we've more often than not when we were playing in India, we were winning those games. So therefore, that's the challenge, and yeah, that's the let's see if we can turn it around. And again, a full house against us. That should be also a nice thing to see, and hope as I think all of us Indian football fans are hoping for a positive result.
guys, just for argument's sake, let's just say Anwar Ali is injured. Hiren, would you then say okay Lanshul Kunga, or would you say Behtab Singh?
I will go with ललन चुंगा, क्योंकि एशियन गेम्स में सुंदर जिंगा एंड ललन चुंगा साथ में खेल के आ रहे हैं. सो आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाई आई विल गो विथ हिम. एंड मेहताब थोड़ा सा भी इंजरी से भी वापस आ रहा है, सो दैट्स दी आल्सो वन ऑफ द थिंग, दैट्स व्हाई. एंड दूसरा तो आई थिंक सुभाशिष बोस हमने स्टार्टिंग 11 में रखा नहीं है, तो आई डोंट थिंक सो कि वहां पे कोई इशू आएगा मेरे हिसाब से. एंड कोई बोल रहा था कि सरप्राइजिंग पॉजिटिव सरप्राइजिंग एंट्री किसकी है. पॉजिटिव सरप्राइजिंग एंट्री तो आई वुड से कि मतलब आई थिंक सभी प्लेयर्स मेरे हिसाब से तो मतलब ऑलरेडी टीम के साथ जुड़े ही हुए हैं. ललन चुंगा आई थिंक नेशनल टीम के साथ मतलब पहली बार जा रहे हैं. एशियन गेम्स का अंडर 23 था, तो लेट्स सी वो किस तरह के खेलते हैं. लेकिन मेरे को भी लगता है कि निखिल का चांस ज्यादा है रोशन से स्टार्ट अहेड करने का, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी वो टीम के साथ पिछले कुछ मैचेस से पिछले कुछ टूर्नामेंट से करते आ रहा है. सो मे बी आई थिंक ईगो टीम सब उनके साथ जाए एंड सेकंड हाफ में रोशन हमें देखने को मिली. दिस इज द ओनली चेंज जो हमने लाइनअप बनाई थी, उसमें मैं देख रहा हूँ कि शायद निखिल अहेड ऑफ रोशन. अदरवाइज आई थिंक और लेफ्ट में भी मेरे को लगता है कि नोरेम महेश की जगह पे मे बी, यू नेवर नो, ही विल गो विथ लिस्टन, यू नेवर नो. सो क्योंकि उसने मतलब आप देखिए कि जब भी नोरेम महेश अच्छा भी कर रहा था, तब भी वो मतलब स्टार्टिंग आसिफ कुरुनियान से करवाता था एंड सेकंड हाफ में नोरेम महेश को लाता था. सो वो भी एक मैं देख रहा हूँ कि शायद वहां पे भी चेंज माइट हो जाए. अदर देन दैट आई थिंक इट्स अ परफेक्ट लाइनअप.
Very, very interesting. I don't know, Liston or Mahesh on the left.
Um, I would go with Mahesh. I think at the moment Mahesh is in a better form, and you saw that also. He's got a level of confidence which he showed in the Kings Cup. So I would say Mahesh. And yeah, let's see what other options he picks. Lalchung Nunga for me at international level is not that experienced. I think therefore I would always go with even if Mehtab is not 100%, but I think Mehtab Singh has now that experience with Mumbai City Champions League and all that. So I would think that he would rather go with someone who's got that international experience. And Lalchung Nunga did not have the best of Asian Games as well. Whatever people say.
Yeah. Guys, again, while everybody is here, everybody watching, please subscribe, like the stream, subscribe to all the channels. Arunava's channel, Arun Foot, Hiren's Curious Harry, Sports Khabri, and of course, Shayan's Indian Food and Football. Um, Getting back to the conversation, we spoke about this yesterday. Arman's hinting at a double pivot of Thapa and Suresh, and then Brandon in the middle
I
rather than
think
Sahal. Is this a possibility?
Most probably I think Thapa and Suresh will start, but I think Sahal Abdul Samad will go ahead of Brendan, मेरे को ये लगता है क्योंकि एक अच्छे फॉर्म में वो आ रहा है and I don't think so कि मे बी सेकंड हाफ में ब्रेंडन में दिख सकता है एंड जोशुआ कार्ल्टन पूछ रहे कि यासिर को देखिए आई थिंक हीरो ट्राइनेशन में उसको मौका दिया था एंड उसमें उतना ज्यादा वो कर नहीं पाए उसके बाद उनको ड्रॉप आउट कर दिया गया है आप देखिए कि
he was also injured na injured भी थे
Injured,
and then
हाँ.
the Manipur का issue था, so therefore I think that was the combination why he's not. So I think that's the reason why Yasir is in that. Those are positions where we've got a lot of options on those attacking wings, or even in the number 10s positions. We've got 4 or 5 players who could play. So therefore, Yasir about 6 months ago most probably would have been the top potential pick, and now others are better. Sahal has shown in the recent weeks that he's moved a step up after joining Mohun Bagan.
Yeah. He's looked very impressive. I think he's one of those players who you just can't drop. Like, what can you do right now? He's just in fine form. So, very interesting. I don't know if you had to pick between the centre backs, should Anwar be injured for the game, who would you go with?
As I just said, I think Mehtab. I think with the experience that he now has at international football, he has an understanding of the game which is improved quite a bit over the last few years. So therefore, I think if Anwar by any chance is injured, Mehtab Singh would most probably be the option.
Again, Arman pointing out that Sahal kind of slows down the counter attack. I just think he looks to the final ball a little too desperately sometimes, but
it depends on who he's playing with. I think he will play differently with the all-Indian attack than when he's playing with those kind of strikers, Cummings, Petrato, Sadiku, and you've got Hugo Bumus next to you. So therefore, that's a different thing, I think. And Sahal has gotten better in his gameplay, I feel, over the last few weeks at Mohun Bagan. I think that is something which I feel finally... so therefore I feel that's going to be the interesting one to see.
Again, mindset, Arnava is pointing out something a little crucial. Ball playing centre back. Mehta probably not the
Chununga
best.
is not ready for international football. I think that is something that we'll have to be honest about. I think that he's not ready for this level of football. So therefore I think give him a little bit more time. He has played 1 full season of the ISL. He's just had his international debut with the under 23s or under 24s at the Asian Games. Give him time and let him get another full season in with East Bengal, and then we can potentially discuss it. Because yes, Mehtab is certainly not that ball kind of player that Lal and to that extent especially Anwar is. But I think Mehtab Singh has become much more better in his gameplay in the last 2 seasons under Des Buckingham, who today also celebrated his 2 years at Mumbai City. So yeah, congratulations Des as well on that.
Yeah, Mainak is saying he asked Igor about Apuya and Igor said there's no conflict, and who says he's the best? I don't know.
उसका मैं बता देता हूँ, मीनाक चक्रवर्ती भाई, वो थोड़ी ना बोलेगा कि कॉन्फ्लिक्ट है भाई, कोई अपने वो क्यों बोलेगा? अपुया को भी जब पूछा गया तो उसने क्या बोला था कि नहीं कोच ऐसा नहीं हुआ, तो वो तो दोनों पार्टी में से कोई एक्सेप्ट नहीं करेगा, और वो उन्होंने जो दिया है वो मतलब डिप्लोमेटिक आंसर है जो कि कोई भी देगा. तो उसमें नई चीज नहीं है, बाकी पूरी दुनिया को पता है, उन दोनों को भी पता है कि देयर इज अ डिफरेंसेस, दैट्स व्हाई दिस सिचुएशन हैपन। एंड इसमें देखिए इवेंचुअली लॉस इंडियन फुटबॉल का है, दोनों पार्टीज अगर साथ यहाँ पे इस इश्यू को सोल्व कर पाती है, दैट्स अ बेटरमेंट फॉर द इंडियन फुटबॉल, सिंपल एज दैट। अपने पर्सनल ईगो उसको साइड में रख के अगर नेशनल टीम के सोच के अगर दोनों बातचीत करेंगे तो ये इश्यू सोल्व होगा, अदरवाइज अगर दोनों अपने पर्सनल ईगो पे रहेंगे तो ये कभी भी सोल्व नहीं होगा। सो जब तक तो फिर अगर ईगो नहीं रहेंगे तब तक अपुया नहीं खेलेगा। तो फिर तो आप देखिए कोच तो बोल देगा कि मेरे लिए वो इनफ नहीं है, उनके लिए तो कोई भी परफॉर्मेंस इनफ नहीं होगा, तो क्या होगा? तो वो वाली चीज है ना, तो ये तो कोई भी बोलेगा भाई, तो सिंपल से हमको स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड है कि अगर वो तो कोई भी कोच होगा या फिर कोई अभी भी अपुया से आप पूछेंगे तो वो थोड़ी बोलेगा कि मेरा कोच के साथ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हुआ, वो भी वही आंसर देगा। और उसने दिया भी है पहले कि ऐसा कुछ नहीं हुआ है, तो वो तो सबको पता है।
Yeah. Interesting again question from Joshua. Will Sunil Chhetri play the 90 minutes? Should we give him the 90 minutes? Or should we play Manveer for a bit?
I think that depends on Sunil himself. If Sunil wants to play 90 minutes, I think the coach will not take him out.
But is it the right thing to do, guys? Going into, I mean, because you want to see the other striker, see what he's going to bring to the table potentially before this.
I think it depends on what's the result, what's the situation. Are you leading? Are you behind? How rough
वो
and tough
मैच
was the
सिचुएशन के
game
ऊपर
for
डिपेंड
Sunil?
करेगा।
And again, it's not easy, and this is now a tournament situation, so it's a little different than just playing a friendly. And a friendly, you can say after 60 minutes, whatever is the result, listen, I'm going to make 3 substitutions. After 70 minutes, I'll make another one, and after 80, I'll make another one, let's say, as an example. So therefore, yeah, would be good if Manvi gets some playing time as a striker, but will he get it? I don't know.
Yeah. Lord Baker is saying Rohit Kumar is enough for the coach. How, of course, definitely not on his current form. I think most of us agree. I think almost the entire of India agrees that Apuya should be there. I don't think any of us, any
जो
of
भी लोग
us.
गाइज, मैं यहाँ पे रिमाइंडर कर देता हूँ, जो भी लोग गाइज हमारे से जुड़े, प्लीज गाइज लाइक कीजिए सभी चैनल्स को एंड सब्सक्राइब भी कीजिए। लाइक करने से गाइज और भी ज्यादा लोगों तक वीडियो पहुंचता है एंड और भी ज्यादा लोग हमारे साथ जुड़ सकते हैं इंडियन फुटबॉल डिस्कशन में। तो प्लीज गाइज लाइक जरूर कर दीजिए।
Yeah. Thanks everyone. And now again, there is technical angle to central attacking midfielders. How good is your technical ability? Can you spray the balls out wide? Can you take shots from distance? Can you get a good set piece in? Where, guys, because I've heard a lot of people talk about this Brandon versus Sahal debate. Actually, where do you guys stand on Brandon versus Sahal? Not for tomorrow's game, in general. Who is the better attacking midfielder?
इसमें देखिए क्या हुआ है पता है, ब्रेंडन कुछ महीने पहले अगर आप बोलते तो ब्रेंडन डेफिनेटली जब उसके फादर का डिमाइस हुआ और जब सहल खेल रहा था तब अगर बोलते तो आप बोलते कि भाई ब्रेंडन को लाना चाहिए, क्योंकि जो सहल की डिसीजन मेकिंग है या फिर वो जो पासिंग हो रहे थे वो उतने ज्यादा इफेक्टिव नहीं थे। लेकिन अभी जो रिसेंट फॉर्म अगर आप देखेंगे तो सहल ने वो अपनी गेम को यहाँ पे इम्प्रूव किया है एंड आप उनके जो पासिस है, उसकी जो बॉल कंट्रोल है, वो सारी चीजें डिसीजन मेकिंग मच बेटर हुई है। सो इन दैट सेंस अगर आप देखेंगे तो वो ब्रेंडन के अभी भी ब्रेंडन नो डाउट आपकी बात से हम एग्री करते हैं कि जो उसके क्रॉसिंग एबिलिटी है या फिर जो उसका डिसीजन मेकिंग है, टेक्निकली गिफ्टेड सारी चीजें, सहल भी आप देखिए अपने गेम को एक लेवल अप किया है एंड ये अच्छी अच्छी बात है इंडियन टीम के लिए कि आपके पास दो क्वालिटी नंबर 10 है कि आपको डिफिकल्टी हो रही है कि किसको चूज किया जाए एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू सिचुएशन आप दोनों में से किसी एक को खिला सकते हैं। तो दैट्स अ गुड पार्ट भाई, दोनों को मौका मिलेगा, ऐसा नहीं है कि एक ही पूरा खेलता रहेगा, क्योंकि सहल ने भी आई थिंक 2021 के बाद जो अभी लास्ट मोहन बगान वाला गेम था वो 90 मिनट खेला है। तो वो भी पहले भी उसके साथ वो भी इशू था कि वो पूरा 90 मिनट सेम इंटेंसिटी के साथ या फिर उतना एफर्ट के साथ नहीं खेल पाता। सो वो भी एरिया में सहल ने अपने आप को इम्प्रूव किया है। सो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट फ्रॉम सहल साइड आल्सो। सो आई थिंक नाउ इट्स अ हेडेक फॉर द कोच कि किसको सिलेक्ट किया जाए एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द टैक्टिक्स एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू द अपोनेंट आई थिंक वो डिसाइड करेंगे कि किसके साथ आगे जाए।
There's a question about broadcast, guys. Any updates on broadcast that you guys want to share?
ब्रॉडकास्ट में एक दो वेबसाइट बता रही है कि स्टार स्पोर्ट एंड हॉटस्टार, बट अभी तक ऑफिशियल अनाउंसमेंट नहीं हुआ है, सो वी
No
कांट से एनीथिंग।
confirmation. I think the Football Association of Malaysia will do a streaming on one of its social media channels. I'm not sure if it's YouTube or Facebook or something. I think that something is in the pipelines. But if there will be a broadcast in India, I would not know, or I don't. I think none of us know at the moment. So if there is any broadcast, there will be an official announcement by the All India Football Federation via its social medias.
Very interesting because, I mean, again, people to get out have to watch these games. Now,
Shine's question is very interesting. If you see that,
yeah, I was
With-
getting into that.
yeah.
Looking beyond Sunil, who's going to play in that position?
I pick up the first question at the end to force teams to play strikers or not. No, you can't. I think that is a very simple answer, that you can't force teams to play players in a certain position. Otherwise, you'll have to say, I'm going to play the ISL without foreigners. And that's not going to happen. I mean, the AFC this season just changed the number of foreigners from 4 to 6, because they realize that, look at the Saudi Pro League and other leagues. I mean, if they see the Saudis with 6 starting foreigners, some of those teams, and I said Al Hilal with its 6 foreigners and with its Saudi national team players potentially could play the Champions League in Europe. They've got, that kind of potential quality in that. And we're not just talking about Neymar. So the point is, at the lower level, to have no foreigners, yes, it's good. It gives the players an opportunity, but the players have to fight their way through. I think as a striker, as a centre back, you have to fight your way through to the top. If you're good, if you're very good, you will at the right time get your chance. But being a top I-League striker does not mean that you're going to get a chance in the ISL. We've had Joby Justin as an example at East Bengal, who was very good but could not make the cut in the ISL. We've had Vidyasagar, top scorer in the I-League for Trao at BFC and then at Kerala Blasters. So it's a difficult one as a striker to make it. We've got others as well who are moving up the ranks. So therefore, that's the difficult part. We don't have suitable substitutions. We always sometimes, if I look back over the last 25 years, I'm Vijan was there when Baichung sort of started. When Sunil started, Baichung was around. Sunil had a very good partnership with JJ, but of course JJ has retired early due to injuries. And it's on the next generations. Manveer Singh, forget Manveer Singh, even Sunil, for that fact, does not play out and out striker at BFC. He's been used as a winger. So Manveer, the same thing. Ishan Pandita needs to come back from an injury. Again, people will talk about Rahim Ali and all, but again, we don't have options. These are the strikers currently at the top level of Indian club football who potentially could represent India.
Yeah.
इसमें मेरे हिसाब से 2-3 चीजें हैं. आई थिंक एक तो है सबसे पहली कि आपके कितने प्लेयर्स आपके जो इंडियन स्ट्राइकर है वो भी आईएसएल की टॉप लीग में खेल रहे हैं. और एक आई थिंक जो क्लियर इंडिकेशन कोच की ओर से भी आ चुका है कि क्योंकि अब आईएसएल फर्स्ट डिवीजन बन चुका है, सो जो सिलेक्शन क्राइटेरिया है वो आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं मतलब सेट हो चुका है कि आपको आईएसएल में परफॉर्म करना पड़ेगा, देन यू कैन गेट इनटू द नेशनल टीम. सिंपल सी बात वो है. एंड रहीम अली को भी क्यों मौका मिलता था, क्योंकि चेन्नई में वो रेगुलर खेलने वाला बंदा वही था. दूसरा कोई स्ट्राइकर हमारा ऐसे रेगुलर नहीं खेलता. शिवा शक्ति खेल रहा था लेकिन अनफॉर्चुनेटली उसको इंजरी हो गया. इंजरी के बाद उतना ज्यादा इफेक्टिव नहीं दिखा है. एंड देखिए पूरे हम चाहते कि ये स्ट्राइकर को मौका मिलना चाहिए, आईएसएल में इसको मिलना चाहिए. उसके लिए 2 परफेक्ट एग्जांपल है. एक तो शिवा शक्ति लास्ट सीजन का एंड विक्रम प्रताप सिंह. ये 2 प्लेयर ने करके दिखाया कि हाउ यू गेट इनटू द स्टार्टिंग 11. ऑलमोस्ट विक्रम प्रताप सिंह अब जिस तरह का परफॉर्मेंस आ रहा है, आई थिंक मोस्ट प्रोबेबली हमें कपल ऑफ मैचेस के बाद शायद वो रेगुलर बनते दिख जाएंगे. एंड शिवा शक्ति ने भी लास्ट सीजन करके दिखाया था. तो दिस इज हाउ एनी स्ट्राइकर, चाहे वो कोई भी स्ट्राइकर आ रहा हो आईएसएल में, उसको प्रूव करना पड़ेगा. ट्रेनिंग सेशन में आपको कोच को कन्विंस करना पड़ेगा. और देखिए कोई भी फॉरेन कोच हो उसके लिए ऐसा नहीं है कि उसको फॉरेन स्ट्राइकर ही खिलाना है. उसको तो मैटर करता है कि कौन यहाँ पे मेरे को रिजल्ट दे रहा है, कौन मेरे को गोल मार के दे रहा है. अगर इंडियन को स्ट्राइकर मार रहा है तो उसको सिलेक्ट करेगा, अगर फॉरेन स्ट्राइकर मार रहा है तो उसको सिलेक्ट करेगा. सो इट्स ऑन द प्लेयर्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कि उसको यहाँ पे कन्विंस करना पड़ेगा कोच को अपनी ट्रेनिंग के थ्रू. और स्टार्टिंग में देखिए किसी को भी स्टार्टिंग 11 में जगह नहीं मिलेगी. आपको एज ए सब्स्टिट्यूशन 10-15 मिनट यूज किया जाएगा. आप उसमें कितने इफेक्टिव होते हो. फिर ऐसा तो नहीं कि फॉरेन स्ट्राइकर पूरा सीजन खेलने वाला है, उसको भी बीच में इंजरी होगी, तो उसमें आपको जो 1-2 मैचेस मिलते हैं उसमें फिर आपको क्या बोलते हैं कि वो अपॉर्चुनिटी को लेना है और अपने आप को क्या बोलते प्रूव करके दिखाना. तब जाके आपका एक जो केस है वो स्ट्रॉन्ग बनता जाएगा एंड आपके जो प्लेइंग टाइम है वो भी बढ़ता जाएगा. सो दिस इज हाउ यू कैन मूव आइड. बाकी तो और कोई सॉल्यूशन है नहीं इसका.
Yeah. Abhishek, we've already spoken about Parthiv. We spoke about him yesterday as well. There's nothing he's done wrong. The coach is clearly, he doesn't fancy him at the moment. And
Yeah, I think Parthiv Gogoi is a good example, that if such a player comes onto the scene, how do you handle that? Because your options are limited, and the coaches, if you see how he's picked the squad, even Vikram has been dropped. He has gone for the tried and tested in India colors, right? So therefore, yeah, that's the decision of the coach. But again, Parthiv Gogoi seems to be one of those exceptional talents, and if he continues to do what he's done in the first 3 games of the Indian Super League, if he does it in the next 2 games, I think he does get into the World Cup qualifier squad, and I would hope so, because we lack that kind of a player, right? So therefore, it'll be interesting to see. Let's see what we do on the 13th first in this month, and then let's see what happens in the ISL, because we will also face issues most likely with injuries and other things. So let's see which is the squad which India will send to Kuwait to play the first World Cup qualifier.
going to be very interesting. Hiren, for this game, let's quickly just talk about that. India, Malaysia, quick scoreline, and how do you see India going? Do you see India really taking the game to Malaysia, or do you think we'll be a little cautious?
No, definitely. I think we are going to go as a team without a doubt, and I think interesting match hoga. It's not going to be easy for India, but I think eventually we will win. And I think 90 मिनट के बाद सीधा penalty shootout है, so वो भी एक चीज है. But I think I'm seeing the India win by 2-1 margin.
2-1 India, Arnava. That means Hiren is saying 2 matches this time for India in the Merdeka Cup. What are you saying? Do you see India winning this?
Hiren has brought a very interesting angle into discussion, which is the penalties. And I feel we have shown that if the match goes to 120 minutes, physically we are well equipped at the moment. I mean, that was at least the case in the summer, that we are willing to go those 120 minutes. And if it goes to 120 minutes, if it goes to a shootout, I would believe India to win. So that's that. But again, it's still away. It's going to be a hostile atmosphere. And one fact I do feel now with 13th, my mistake. It's going to be after 90, right? Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Lord Beke, for the correction. It's going to be like in the King's Cup. So it's going to be 90 minutes. So, but again, after 90, penalty shootout. So let's see if we can turn things around. And that's the most important thing. How has this team grown since the summer? I think that's the real test. We saw some glimpses against Iraq, but we also saw against Iraq that a quality opponent can get back to us. Now the question is, what can we do against Malaysia? Because Malaysia, forget the rankings, because we've had that discussion regarding Kuwait as well. Kuwait was no worse than us. So therefore, I think Malaysia most likely is going to be a team on our level. So therefore, and Rahul, don't blame it on the referee. That's too cheap. Sorry, don't.
नहीं, रेफरी तो वैसे भी न्यूट्रल होगा ना फीफा विंडो में, तो उसमें कहाँ होकर दिक्कत आएगी?
I don't know if Malaysia will have VAR for this competition. Again, these are
VAR नहीं होगा.
They're friendlies. Normally you don't have VAR, so I don't see that being an option. And that's, again, it's if I like it, if you like it or not, we'll have to live with the decisions that the officials make on the field.
Just one last question, guys, before we sign off. Given India's footballers play in certain hostile grounds, for example, you go to Kerala, where you play in front of a packed crowd, or you play at East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, there are people there, and it is hostile, the crowd's there. So in a way, shouldn't this Indian side now be equipped to playing away? Do you think they should do well under pressure?
आई थिंक जो एक चीज हम यहाँ पे एज अ फैन मैं बोलूंगा रादर देन एज अ पर्सपेक्टिव ऑफ प्लेयर्स को तो आई थिंक किसी भी चैलेंज के लिए रेडी होना ही चाहिए, उसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है कि उनके लिए कोई एक्सक्यूज नहीं होना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से, दिस आर द थिंग यू हैव टू लर्न इफ यू वांट टू मूव अहेड एंड यू कैन से कि टू बी बेस्ट। बट आई थिंक फैंस के हिसाब से भी जो मैं डर रहा है कि भाई मलेशिया के सामने मलेशिया के पीओआई प्लेयर से अवे गेम है ये सारी चीजें दिस आर दी, देखिए आप चाहते हो कि इंडिया 100 पे ही रहे, क्योंकि अब देखिए 100 के बाद यही चैलेंजेस है, 100 के नीचे वाली टीम्स की वहां पे दूसरे चैलेंजेस होते हैं, एंड वो हमने क्या बोलते कि मूव पास कर लिए ऑलमोस्ट। अब जो नए चैलेंजेस है वो यही सारे हैं कि आपको अवे में भी जीतना पड़ेगा, आपको आपसे हायर रैंक जो 10-15 रैंक टीम है उसको भी बीट करना पड़ेगा, तब जाके आप पहुंचोगे ना। जो हमारा सपना है कि हम इंडिया को नेक्स्ट 2-3 ईयर्स में हम देखना चाहते हैं 60-70 रैंक के अराउंड, वो तभी पहुंच पाएंगे जब आप इस तरह के रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस कर पाओगे और इस तरह की टीमों को आप बीट करोगे एंड इस तरह के हॉस्टाइल एनवायरनमेंट में आप मैच निकालोगे। आप ऐसे क्रूशियल जंक्शन पे आपका कोई एक प्लेयर का ऐसा परफॉर्मेंस आएगा, तो ये सारी चीजें अब इंडिया को धीरे धीरे क्या बोलते कि टेक इन टू अकाउंट लेना पड़ेगा एंड फैंस को भी ये समझना पड़ेगा कि तभी आप जाके रियल मायने में या फिर सच में ये बोल सकते कि भी हम प्रोग्रेस किए हैं। नहीं तो हमारी जो प्रोग्रेशन है वो मतलब वहीं पे है, हम बोलने के लिए बोल देंगे कि प्रोग्रेस हुए, ये अच्छा कर रहे हैं, गेम प्ले अच्छा कर रहे हैं, लेकिन उसका कोई रियल आपको आउटपुट नहीं दिखेगा, क्योंकि मैंने जैसे बोला नेशनल टीम में आपको रिजल्ट ही मैटर करेंगे एट द एंड ऑफ द डे, चाहे हम कितना भी दूसरी चीजों की बात कर लें, अगर रिजल्ट नहीं है आपके तो आपको आपका क्या बोलते कि आपको कोई वो अप्रिशिएट नहीं करेगा, वो वाली चीज है। सो आई थिंक अब इस सारी चीजों से हटके इसको एज ए चैलेंज लेके अपने आप को प्रूव करना रादर देन थिंकिंग अबाउट द हॉस्टाइल एनवायरनमेंट, वो तो हर किसी के लिए मतलब कहीं ना कहीं कभी ना कभी होगा ही, तो आपको उसको ही ओवरकम करना है एंड उसके अगेंस्ट आप अगर रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस करते हो तो एक आपको बेटर एक जो कॉन्फिडेंस की बात करते हैं, क्योंकि पास्ट में हम वियतनाम सिंगापुर के सामने जो रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस करके आए हैं आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं वो भी हमारे लिए अब प्रूव करने का टाइम आ चुका है कि हम सिर्फ होम के लिए घर के शहर नहीं है वो वाली चीज है, हम बाहर आके भी मतलब रिजल्ट प्रोड्यूस कर सकते हैं। सो ये तो एक चैलेंज की तरह रहना चाहिए रादर देन ये डिफिकल्ट होगा या फिर एक्सक्यूज।
Yeah, Arnav, what do you think about the
Hiren has
question?
perfectly summed it up. I think we have to look at means and ways of where do we stand in our development graph, right? A coach talks about it, so that we've changed our style of football. We are much more confident. We are, a better fighting unit. All taken. That is working at home. Now we need to take it away. And as said, we want to play teams in the top 70, top 80. Then if we go to a Malaysia, we need to go with the confidence that we're going to win in Malaysia against Malaysia. And that is something, again, and I'm saying this why? Because that's going to be the test against Kuwait. Right? Kuwait pushed us in the SAF championships. Again, out of own experience, in the final, they pushed us. Right? It was a 50-50 game. So therefore, that's the test. And if we beat Malaysia, can even beat Tajikistan to win the Merdeka Cup, that's ideal. But even if you win one match and get a second match, that would be important. If you lose, you're going to lose those 90 plus minutes of a second game. That is something which I think is that needs to be the focus. Get into that second game somehow and get minutes into the boys. But again, on the other side, there's a factor which Des Buckingham was saying the other day with the whole traveling that Mumbai City has had over the last few weeks, that he feels to some extent some of the players have been tiring. So that's the other side of the story, that we've had so much of football in August, September, before even October started, that if you add up for some players, most probably they've played more matches than they would have played in the last few years in the whole season. So this is something which is very, very challenging. And this is how do you, as a coach, as medical staff, as physios, work out what makes sense. And that's also the question. Does Igor send out his best 11 or best available 11? Or does he look at, okay, I'm going to give certain boys exposure, but on the other side, I want stability. Because if there, Sunil and Sandesh will surely play. And if we play 2 matches, it could be what he's done in the past, that Amrinder and Gurpreet will both get 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the interesting part, is how do you do it? And that's how Igor most probably will try and plan and organize that.
I mean, well, I think the biggest takeaway from whatever I've heard from both of you is that we're hopeful that India gets 2 games, more than anything. Let's hope that India get past Malaysia
What's
and
your
get that
feeling,
second
Rahul?
game.
Rahul, now let's ask you. I mean, you've been asking a lot of questions, but it's counter you. What's your feeling on this whole situation with this format?
Like,
And it's a 1+1, so to say, for potentially for India.
Again, ideally, like you guys mentioned, I would have liked it to be a 3-way tournament where everybody plays everyone. That would be an ideal, because you get 2 short games, and that's what we want before we head into the World Cup qualifiers. But it's okay, we'll deal with what we have, and I think we need to win against Malaysia. So that's the important thing. We need to get that second game. So let's treat it like a proper football game. It is going to be a proper cup fixture, so to speak. So yeah, I'm hopeful for India, man. I think we can get a result against Malaysia, and it'll be interesting because we really put up a fight against Iraq, and I was pretty impressed. And let's hope that we can have a good away day in Malaysia and then go and play the final against Tajikistan. Regardless of the result,
Ma-
just need to get into that game
yes,
against
yes,
Tajikistan.
मयंक भाई चैंपियंस लीग से पहले इंडियन प्लेयर्स लेट होप सो कि बाहर की जो यूरोपियन लीग है उसके सेकंड थर्ड डिवीजन में खेलना चालू करे एंड टॉप डिवीजन में खेलना चालू करे, उसके बाद चैंपियंस लीग में ऑटोमेटिकली वो आ जाएंगे भाई.
But
सो
one point is that Mumbai City at the moment is still playing Champions League. They still have 4 matches to
नहीं नहीं
play.
नहीं,
So,
अरे अरे वो बोल रहे हैं यूरोप का चैंपियंस लीग, यूएफए चैंपियंस लीग.
I actually ISL team play in Champions League. But for me, our problem in the next few years will be that will be second tier, this Champions League 2 or whatever they're going to call this thing. Very weird, but anyway, to get into the Champions League proper, our clubs will need to get into the quarters, into the semi-finals, maybe even win that second tier of Asian club competitions. Only chance.
जो कि लेकिन सर नेक्स्ट ईयर से चैंपियंस लीग का जो सेकंड टियर है वो भी डिफिकल्ट होगा, क्योंकि जो
100%.
चैंपियंस लीग वन में से नहीं वन में से जो थर्ड पोजीशन फिनिश करेगा वो सेकंड टियर में आएगा, तो जो कंपटीशन है वो और ज्यादा टफ होने वाला है. इस बार
100%,
एफसी
because
कप
it's
लीजिए.
only 20, it's a 24 team top tier, na? And a 24
हाँ,
team second tier. Uske liye in
हाँ,
that second tier, you will have a lot of teams who would normally in the old 40 team format would have played in the top tier of the Champions League. So,
नहीं
and
जो
that's
फर्स्ट नहीं सर, फर्स्ट जो 24 टीमें हैं चैंपियंस लीग वन की, उसमें से भी कुछ टीमें टू में आएगी कंपटीशन में.
no, they will come in the knockouts.
नॉकआउट्स. हाँ
Knockouts. It's like in Europe, no? In Europe, what
Yeah.
happens?
हाँ
In Europe,
Champions League to Europe.
the top 2 teams get into the knockouts of the Champions League. The third place teams drop into Europa League.
हाँ.
And that will also happen. But again, I'm saying even group stage, before we get into knockouts, group stage will get tougher. And that is something which for Indian teams will be a challenge, right? So if Mohun Bagan and Odisha are at the moment struggling against Vasundhara and against Mazia, and Mumbai City, whatever they've played, have not been able to get a point. Yeah, that's the reality where we at the moment stand in Asia when it comes to club football. So it's not going to be easy. As much as we wish, the ISL will have to further develop, have to further grow for our clubs to be more competitive at the Asian level. And for that also, we need to sort out the start of the season. This will be a very big challenge for next year. We don't have an Asian Games, but we will have the qualifiers. We will have matches in September, October, November. And depending if we get into round 3, then the round 3 matches would be around that time. So now, how do we prepare? Is that the Durand Cup really the time? Or do players opt out? And, that's going to be, again, I hope that is sorted directly in June once we know if we're going to play the final round or not.
Yeah. It'll be very interesting. We have a couple of nice months lined up for us, especially November onwards. But first, Merdeka Cup. Let's look forward to it. We'll be back, of course, covering the Merdeka Cup. We'll watch the games. We'll hopefully review it. And the hope is that we're going to have 2 games to review and talk about. So yeah, let's look forward to that. Thanks so much, guys, for joining today. And again, like, follow, subscribe to all the channels: Arun Food, Curious Harry, Sports Khabri, Indian Food and Football, and we'll be back for more content. See you. Good night.
Good night. Test.
Good night.